All right, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. We're going to give it a few seconds here while we wait for everyone to enter the webinar. While we wait, I am going to check some settings and make it so that attendees can chat for the moment. And please add your name and the organization, the internet service provider or organization that you're representing into the chat. That helps us have a better understanding of who's here. So go ahead and add your name, ISP into the chat, and I'll do quick introductions for those who are joining the call from our side. Got myself, Kelly, Community Engagement Manager for the State Broadband Office here in Arizona, and I'll do introductions for everybody else. I know you all love it when I do that. So we've got Amy Dorman, our Deputy Director. We have Sandeep, our Director for the State Broadband Office. We also have Jamie and Crystal and Adrian from the office as well. From KPMG, we've got Iris and Divya, and then we also have Keely, who's joining us from Ready. So these are our consultants working with us on our portals and our application, and we are here to answer your questions today. So thank you for putting your information into the chat. And as per the usual, we will have all questions go through the Q&A portion only. It's easiest to monitor it that way. So I will remove settings from the chat, and then you can add your questions to the chat. You can also upvote somebody else's question. And again, this is the technical assistance session, and this is for technical questions related to the applications for the BEAD program. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Sandeep.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kelly. Really appreciate all of you participating into our technical assistance session. We'll kick off today's assistance session with any question you have. You are most welcome to post those questions in the Q&A box, and we'll take those questions and answer. I just want to highlight this question and answer are more focused towards the application itself. We will not suggest or recommend you anything regarding the application itself. It's your own strategy as an internet service provider or as a participant in the BEAD program who will set those strategies by yourself. So please refrain yourself from asking a question which is directly interfering with the procurement at this point. These technical assistance hours are designed mostly help you clarify any guidance we have provided. We also did get a significant amount of questions through the emails. We are working on the FAQ. It will be posted shortly. The FAQ, the questions are really those are great questions, but a lot of questions. We are putting together those FAQ and send it to will be posted on our website, and the FAQ will be updated based on the questions from upcoming weeks. Having saying that, please start posting your question. And also, if we unmute you, the question is not clear if any instance, and we unmute you, please let us know that which ISP you are from, if it's not clear from your email address, and if you're a consultant representing an ISP, please disclose that which ISP you are representing, or any tribe or local government you are representing. Thank you.
Great. Okay, we do have a couple questions already, and just to follow up on what Sandeep said about the FAQs, for you all to know that the FAQs right now are clocking in over 100 questions. So there have been a lot of great questions, and we are really trying to provide accurate information in those questions. So once that get posted, it is a very large document, over 100 questions, and good old Control F is your friend to find the answers that you're looking for to sort through that document. And we will get started with the questions here. So thanks for using that Q&A. I can see here from Kate Sneed, I have 5 questions. I do not know if you want me to put them in the chat or raise my hand. Well,
please, as my colleague Jamie mentioned in the chat, great, 5 questions is great. Definitely post them separately on the chat so that we can easily plug that into our FAQ. But yes, please post them on the chat, and we will unmute you if necessary. Thank you, Kate.
All right, so I'm going to scroll down to Kate's first question that she's got in there, which is, will we be scored for the cost reasonableness using the applicant project cost from Part A1 or Part A2?
Okay. Will be scored for the cost reasonableness. using applicant project cost from A1 or part A1 or A2. Devya, do you want to take this question?
Yes, sure, Sandeep. So it would be scored separately for A1 and A2 based on the number of locations that are provided. And based on the number of outliers included, it will be prorated. The cost reasonableness based on the reference benchmark, cost will be prorated for those locations and then scored accordingly.
Great. Okay, next question from John Moody. If there are no outliers, do we need to fill out part A2?
You don't, unless Devya has a different answer for that.
No, so A1 is including all locations, all eligible underserved, unserved locations within the project area. So if you're proposing a fiber-based deployment for all locations, irrespective of it being outliers or not, it will come under A1. So if you don't have any outliers identified and are willing to propose to serve all the locations, please just fill in the details for A1.
All right, next up is Teresa Ferguson. Please provide context and guidance on how an applicant can determine the cost of outlier locations without doing an extensive engineering design and analysis, which ACA doesn't require until execution of grant agreement.
Teresa, that's a question I'm afraid that we won't be able to answer. Every company is different. Some company goes through an extensive design and engineering through the desktop analysis before they submit a grant application. Some use different methods. That's not something we can advise. If your initial assessment from your initial desktop engineering analysis just through the tool, there are a lot of tools you can use. Engineering tool which determines how much it would be to serve those outliers with fiber. So if that helps, you can use those tools and provide a number and calculate the outlier. We as a state broadband office cannot advise you on that what methodology you should use.
Okay. Next question in the queue from Teresa. If an applicant believes they can serve the entire project area with FTTP and doesn't identify outlier locations, and the application amount falls below the reference price, can the applicant later identify outlier locations upon finalization of the engineering and design and before execution of grant agreement?
I think the answer to that question would be no, because it's a competitive process. Outlier also decides what kind of score you will get into the scoring process. So that will not be allowed. The outlier which is defined during the procurement will directly impact the scoring, and that cannot be decided later.
Okay. Next question from Paul at WeCom. Good afternoon. Happy Wednesday. I posted a question about the adjustment of cost reasonableness based upon outlier removal. Do you want me to repost the question here or just wait until the new Q&A comes out? I want to make sure the question is on your list.
So Paul, we just typed a response for that question, and this morning we discussed about that question. We're basically reviewing all the questions as a team together. So you will get a response for that question, and it will also be updated in the FAQ. So you will get a separate response. We're responding to the stakeholders separately and also getting updated in the Q&A. So please have a look there. If that doesn't answer the question, we can definitely provide additional guidance into next FAQ or next webinar.
Okay, and he follows up with, in a previous Q&A sessions, it was mentioned a running list of all pre-qualified companies would be posted on the ACA website. How do we find that? Excellent question. I can answer that one, Sandeep. It's on the pre-registration page. I will put the link in the chat. In fact, maybe I could just share my screen
Okay.
and show you. Okay, do you see my Chrome?
We don't, Kelly.
Okay. How about now?
We're still waiting. Yep, right
Okay.
there.
All right. So from this first page here, and I'll put these links in the chat, you're going to go to the pre-registration, and it lives on the pre-registration page right here, approved pre-qualified applicants. So this was updated as of 1/20, and you're going to download a spreadsheet of all the pre-qualified applicants. So again, I'll put that into the chat.
Perfect.
All right. Next question. Kate Sneed, on question 50, we have ability to serve 10 gig, but it is not the XGS PON. We use
Yes.
PON, thank you. We use a different technology. How do we explain this as there is not a text field?
That's a great question, Kate. The problem is the way NTIA kind of published the NOFO. It's not driven by, it is driven by speed, but also it's driven by the technology. They basically, the way you said, and I'm sure you read the NOFO and you were aware about that, their main point is anything except fiber is basically non-priority technology. I'm a little bit aware about Comcast's 10 gig delivery. I'm not sure how we are going to evaluate that. It is difficult, but if this is something which is confidential and you don't want to share in a public setting, I would highly recommend to send us an email and we can probably suggest it from there. But also please do note that any email anyone is sending us, not with the confidential information, but any question is most probably going to be in the FAQ. So it's my job to flag it for you if this is something, a field test you are running or still getting test in the lab. This would be a little bit different, and please help us understand which part is confidential, which part is not. But as of today, any speed, anything when it comes to non-priority and priority technologies, priorities are fiber. Anything non-fiber is basically will be interpreted as a non-priority technology.
And Kate's got her hand raised, so I'm going to unmute her to, I think, elaborate on that. She also has the next question in the queue, so I'll let her ask it.
Thank you,
Go ahead,
Kelly.
Kate.
Thank you. It's a fiber. It's not a not fiber. And in other states, we've been able to explain that why these don't match. But again, there's no field for us to be able to explain in your application. So I don't know how we should do that. If we should just check. I mean, we can serve that speed. It's just a different, form of technology, or I don't, again, in other states, we've had, to your point, this is an NTIA thing. We've been able to expand on the fact that with more detail.
Kate, if this is a fiber, I don't think we need to know anything more than that. Exactly, if you are using XPON or XGPON or something like that. As far as this is more of like an electronics question, that what electronics you are using within the cabinet and how you are delivering 10 gig. If you're using a different technology but using basically delivering the 10 gig with fiber, that's all we need to know. I don't see any extra clarification is needed there.
Okay, so I think our question then goes into the next question around split ratio. Again, I think this is probably coming from NTIA and what they've determined as, based on technology. Again, ours is a different technology. We don't have split ratio. We don't know how to answer that for you.
Devi, any thought? Kate, I don't have any solution on top of my head. Probably we need to see if we can add a
separate
an explanation box or something. Let us get back to you on that. If you can send us an email, that would be very helpful.
All right, and I just want to confirm I'm sending emails to the correct location. We've sent in, I think, 3 or 4 emails and have had 0 response over a week-long period. So am I supposed to be doing these broadband@azcommerce.com?
That's the email address, Kate. Some of the questions you sent us was like answered into our last webinar, and the webinar we posted only for pre-approved applicants. We're trying to roll them into the FAQ. And as I said, FAQ, we have over 100 questions at this point. So trying to make sure we are covering them without basically responding to everyone separately. So that's why there is a little bit delay on our side, but you will see those getting posted in the FAQ pretty soon.
All right, and given that delay and that it's been over a week since, and we still don't have FAQs and the application is due in less than a week. Is there still no chance for a postponement or giving us an extra week? It's very hard to complete the application without any of these, and we've been waiting for a week for responses.
Well, Kate, I don't want to go deep into the discussion, but some of the questions what we have received from you is a strategy related question regarding the application. Yes, we will respond to them eventually. We are talking to our legal team how to respond to them. Those are the strategy related questions which we cannot recommend, and I don't think we would be able to recommend given that we are in a procurement phase. So that should not hold up the application, but happy to take this conversation in an email setting and respond to those questions as soon as possible.
And again, we're just using the broadband at azcommerce.com.
Right.
Thank you.
Richmond, it shows me in the Q&A that you wanted to answer Kate's first question.
Nope, Sandy.
Okay, you're good.
That was, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's okay. All right. Let's see. Next question from Kim. Can you please confirm, and this one is a long, I'm not going to read the quote from the application guide, but Sandeep and KPMG, please take a look at it while I'm reading this out loud. Can you please confirm that the reference benchmark cost for each project area provided in the application portal is compared to the amount of subsidy requested by the applicant?
Yes. So the reference cost, what you are seeing in the portal is basically a subsidy. The maximum amount of subsidy will be available from state of Arizona. Basically, a 25% matching on top of that amount would be necessary from the applicant's perspective.
Okay. Another one, let's see. I think we answered split ratio for Kate. And then another one, 151, provide any additional related analysis that establish the sustainability of the proposed project. Is this for financial sustainability only or all sustainability?
It is a part of the project financial section, so it would pertain to financial sustainability of the project.
Okay. And next from Teresa, given the uncertainties that are percolating due to the administration changes and the short 25 working day application cycle, has ACA considered providing some relief for applicants by extending the application deadline by a couple of weeks? Given other states extending deadlines, is this possible?
I'm not sure that how the 25 working day, is that the business days you are counting, Teresa?
I think so.
Okay. I would say that's not the basically interpretation on our side. This was in 1 month process for round 1. And as of today, we don't have any plan to extend it. That's how it has been posted on our website before even we launched round 1 and round 2. But we are taking the feedback as Kate asked the same question and you are asking the same question. We will evaluate internally and also need to talk to our federal partners, see how that impacting any plan we have submitted to them. As you are aware that our final proposal is due to NTIA on August 1st. So any days we are taking out or any weeks even or couple of days extension we are providing, that has to come out from any evaluation time we have or any negotiation time we have. We don't have any extra days. It's all posted on our website based on the deadlines and what we will be doing once we get round 1 application closed. So it is very difficult to carve out dates, but the technical assistance session or any sessions, we collected feedback from our stakeholder and tried to implement that into our process. So thank you for giving this feedback. At least we heard from 2 different providers in this point. So we'll definitely work on that part and let you know. Another thing I would say, administration change did not change any policy for BEAD. I understand probably some of you are talking about the executive order signed by President Trump yesterday. That does include some of the IRA project and IIJA project. I want to be very clear. That does not impact BEAD, or so far there was no executive order signed which impacted BEAD. So we are business as usual. We are moving forward with what we have. That's the clear instruction from NTIA. We're in close contact with NTIA. We didn't hear anything or receive any official notification to change anything in the BEAD program so far yet. So administration change did not impact anything from the BEAD funding perspective. I want to be very clear, and this is a webinar recorded, so my words are what I'm hearing from the federal government. But on the extension part, let us evaluate internally, and we will probably reach out back to our stakeholder very soon about that. Well, I cannot promise, or State Broadband Office cannot promise anything at this point. We definitely don't want to cut short our evaluation time. That is very important so that we are scoring the applications properly. It's a very sophisticated work. We don't have any other leeway. But I also do understand that there are states requesting additional time on top of the final proposal. We also raised that question for NTIA. None of the states so far got approval. If we get that approval, probably there are some chance that we can extend the round one application timeline. But so far, we did not get any confirmation. So everything is up all on the air. We will try, but we cannot promise anything at this point. Hope that helps the clarification.
Teresa's got her hand raised, so I'm going to unmute her.
Mhm.
All right, go ahead, Teresa.
Thank you, Sandeep, for that thoughtful response. I wanted to offer to you, if you do reach out to NTI to have a conversation about extending, I wanted to provide you with additional substantive rationale for an extension. ACA has, in the number of questions that are in your portal, we're tracking them at probably about 275 questions that need to be responded to. That far and away exceeds any other state program that we've seen so far post a pre-qualification or pre-registration process. Arizona's pre-registration or pre-qual, I can't remember what you called it, it was extensive, and we had anticipated a much smaller application portal. For example, in Wisconsin, I think they have a total of 45 questions for their BEAD application. So if I may beseech you, Sandeep, this is one of the single largest applications in the country with one of the shortest windows. I understand the 30 days, sir, but it fell over Christmas, New Year's, and Martin Luther King Day, and it is hard to require employees to work on holidays and weekends. So if you can hear it in my voice, Sandeep, we're just asking for a little break here. This is a lot of work to try to get done in a very short period of time.
I respect that, Teresa, and you yourself ran a broadband office, so you completely understand the deadline regarding final proposal, what was implemented on every single state. I want to highlight one thing for everyone in this call, that our prequel, yes, there was an extensive amount of question, and the reason there was extensive amount of question to protect the interest of the people here in Arizona. At the end of the day, we definitely want to find a partner or award this grant to an organization who will have financial, managerial, and organizational capability to implement this project. This is not an open-ended thing. So we tried based on ACS procurement guideline. It depends, and it will depend for every state agency to state agency. Our Department of Commerce or Commerce Authority versus a Commerce Authority or Department of Commerce in other state might be different. So having saying that, it is definitely, I agree, that long list of questions, but also please do note that we approved pretty much everyone who submitted even partial amount of questions, meaning answers, and then reached out to the approved applicants through an RFC and give them some extra time so that they can respond. We didn't hold up any approval after submitting and did not close any pre-qualification before round one open. A lot of other states did close pre-qualification. We are basically into rolling in basis. We want to make sure everyone is participating in this process. Having saying that, this is, and Teresa, this is not what in a statement to invalidate what your feeling is. This is just additional clarification. I think pretty much all the participants in this call, they all know that we basically approved everyone so that everyone can see the context of the application and then start reaching out to them from an request for more evidence perspective. I hear you and hear other stakeholders loud and clear. As far as I think a discussion definitely need to happen, and happy to start that conversation. At the end of the day, our applicants are going to make our BEAD program successful. So we completely do understand that. But at the same time, we have to have some kind of guidance from NTIA, and I'll definitely reach out to them. That's our office's commitment to all of our applicants. And if this is possible to secure some extra time on top of our final proposals deadline, we would definitely be happy to extend that timeline. So please let us work on that and allow us some time. Hopefully I'll have an answer for all of you by next week if we start working on that.
Okay, there's another question from Kim. Could you confirm if locations classified as high cost by the NTIA are exempt from requiring match funds? Additionally, would this exemption have a negative impact on scoring? Can you also confirm if question 112 is the only relevant question in the application regarding this matter?
Yes, I can confirm the high cost location are exempt from any match from NTIA. You don't have to provide any match. There is no negative impact on the score. Devya, I'll let you take the question number 112. I don't have the portal open in front of me.
Correct. So if you're referring to the question on the matching waiver, yes, that's the question where you'll identify which locations fall under that category. And also if you're planning to apply for a waiver, along with describing how that waiver would serve the public interest benefit. And accordingly, ACA will request additional information if that is required at a later stage.
Okay. Next question. Does the total amount of the cost reference prices for all areas equal the total of almost $1 billion for the state? That's from Chad.
No, it doesn't, Chad. The total amount, what you are seeing in the benchmark cost is aligning with the NTI's cost modeling. Please do note that the $1 billion, we didn't got $1 billion, we got $993 million and some changes. Also includes the $5 million state got during the 5-year plan. Also, that money was utilized for challenge process. That money was utilized for BEAD 5-year action plan, BEAD initial proposal volume 1 and 2 both, and then challenge process. The state received, after the challenge process was accepted, after volume 2 was accepted, state received the rest $988 million. We have an obligation to manage this program until 2032. I want to be very clear, 2032, which includes running the state broadband office, which also includes paying for our consultant, any program we are launching. So the grant portal you are using, that definitely does cost money. The challenge process portal you saw and you participated does cost money. So any consulting fee, any supporting cost for the state, that also includes the legal team we have. This is a $1 billion contract. So we have our own legal team to oversee this program and making sure that we are not violating any procurement rule. That also includes the outside of the state broadband office team, HR, IT team who works for this. So there's a wide area of expenses which need to go out from this $1 billion, $993 million fund. After that, it was NTIA who calculated that how much money should go towards the infrastructure based on their based on their cost modeling. So it was basically taken from NTI's cost modeling and then implemented on top of that. So to answer your question, that's not the thing. If you look into our volume 2, you will see that we indicated in volume 2 that 4% of this total budget will go towards the state broadband offices to manage this program. Rest 96% will go toward the infrastructure deployment of this program. And 96% is the ceiling. If it comes below that, the state will probably take rest of the money and can have or would have ability to spend towards non-deployment activities, which include the workforce development for broadband deployment and other digital equity related deployment. So just wanted to highlight that.
I don't think that we've got any other, oh, there we go. Does the cost reference pricing equal the 96%? How much is available?
It should be equating to 96%. So if it's a little bit over, we will adjust that. But the cost reference, what you are seeing currently, came from NTI's cost modeling. I'm seeing a lot of question about the cost reference. Please do understand this data, what we adopted from NTI's cost modeling, we directly use that data. A lot of state, they came up with their own cost modeling. They went more deep into that areas, use competitiveness. That means if an internet service provider is already there, they counted their middle mile and that reduced cost. And I'm talking about nationwide. We did not use that. We used NTI's cost modeling, which is kind of the middle mile neutral plan. There is no middle mile was considered into that thing. So I would highly recommend the cost modeling, what we adopted came from NTIA. This is state's discretion, meaning states gets to decide what kind of money we are allocating for every single project area. And this is definitely a final number, but we will always have some liberty to discuss during the negotiation price. If someone goes over 1%, someone comes less than 1%, these are all going to be part of the negotiation. But definitely an application for a project area, we will only invite probably top 3 or top 4 if the scores are really, really close to each other for negotiation. Anyone who scored really low in the process will not be invited in this process. So negotiation is a little bit different than the actual application. Going back to the process, again, highlighting this is state's discretion and ACA adopted the cost modeling from NTIA.
All right, we don't have any other questions in the queue. We've got about 10 minutes left. So there is some time for questions. If there are any left, now's the time. Also, because initial proposal volume 2 was mentioned, I'll plug the link in the chat to where you can find that. Okay. One more that just came in. I think I missed this. When will you be posting the updated FAQ? That is in the works now, and I would say that it would be safe for it to be posted this week. I don't have an exact time and don't want to commit to something too soon, but it's very close to being finalized for us to post.
Can I also add one more context here? I want to make sure that it's been identified in multiple articles. I think there is a vision gap here. When the $43 billion was assigned to all 50 states and 6 US territories, and this is a general statement, definitely the expectation from NTIA is a fiber priority. Please do note that fiber priority doesn't mean you have to deploy fiber everywhere. The most fiber will get the maximum amount of scoring in the process. So the BEAD funding is a mix of fiber technology, alternative technology, and then satellite. And alternative technology also includes a wide array of technology like fixed wireless, licensed fixed wireless, unlicensed fixed wireless. This is all being interpreted. I think there are a lot of questions coming from allocation for a project area. When you are trying to reach that basically use that allocation for 100% fiber deployment. None of the state, and that including Arizona, have the allocation we got from federal government is not sufficient enough. And we mentioned that in multiple webinar through last 2 years, that it's not enough funding to cover every single household here in Arizona with high-speed fiber connectivity. So it would be a mix of applications. If we can provide any feedback, as we provided this feedback during volume 2 webinars presentation and volume 1 webinars and presentation, please think of alternative technology. There are two options here. Again, we don't want to predict how you will submit an application or an applicant. Either if an applicant come in, put together a proposal to cover a significant amount of area with fiber and provide more than 25% matching, either an applicant scale back, provide a proposal with a mix of fiber technology and wireless technology, and then satellite technology, which we can directly forward to the internet, to the satellite providers. That's basically the key of this whole BEAD funding. The amount of funding we have, this is definitely not enough to cover every single household with fiber. So basically, it's a strategy need to set on your side as an applicant, and then go from there. Thank you.
Well, you've got a couple more questions in here. I think Richmond might be able to answer this one from Paul at WeCom. Question is, it appears attachments are to be uploaded in the portal where the specific question is asked, what the attachment is related to. Is there an option to upload additional documentation, supplemental information?
Yep. Yeah, you can upload multiple files in any of those. Some of them are file type specific, so pay attention to that. But yeah, you can upload if you want to send it on and then you want to upload an additional thing of context, go for it.
Thank you. And then next question from Jonathan Adelstein. Was scoring for the amount of fiber included in volume 2?
I'm not sure about the amount of fiber, but if you are asking me how the scoring would be done, was that mentioned in volume 2? Yes. So the scoring you are seeing in the application guidance, that is directly adopted from volume 2. We did not change anything, not that we are allowed to change anything from volume 2 to here when we are launching the subgrantee selection. So anything you're seeing in the application is basically a subset or a direct adaptation from volume 2.
Okay, next couple questions. Kate, is the cost reasonableness based on total cost for A1 or A2?
Devya, do you want to answer that question?
Yeah, this is the same question that we discussed before. So each A1 solution or A2 solution will be scored separately, and the cost reasonableness would be based on the total number of locations included in that solution. So A1 would be for all locations, including outliers, and A2 would be based on the number of locations excluding outliers, and the reference benchmark cost would be prorated according to that. We'll provide more clarification in the FAQ that we'll be publishing soon. So.
And then another from Teresa, given the extensive network design requirements, are there size limitations on the uploads in those sections of the application portal? They could be huge.
I think this is a Richmond question. Richmond, do you want to chime in? Probably.
Yeah, I was just typing out a response, so I'll say refer to that as well because we'll have the email I'm about to mention. But I don't have the exact size we allow for each download memorize at this point. But if you were to have any issue uploading a file, reach out to azhelpdesk@ready.net and we'll get you taken care of.
Teresa, is it possible to probably, if you have that file, to give it a try and see if you're getting an error message and let us know as soon as possible?
And Teresa has another, and they will be protected because if you want something other than PDF, there's proprietary design information.
I think, Kelly, we answered that question. Anything you want us to protect under trade secret, you have to basically send us a not justification, kind of letter, so that we can protect that under trade secret. If that's, I think that's in the FAQ and we discussed that before.
Okay, there's no other questions, but Teresa does have her hand up. So
Okay.
I'm going to allow her to speak. There we go. Go ahead, Teresa.
Thanks, Sandeep, for that clarification on the size. We will see if we can upload that as soon as possible. I just didn't want to type all that. I couldn't type fast enough.
No worries.
But I'm thinking, you know, and I think us like other folks that are providing on some of the detail that you're asking for, it could be like huge amounts of information, and you're just saying that all we have to do is send you a letter requesting that information be retained as confidential.
As a trade secret, yes.
Okay, all righty. Thank
Look,
you.
I want to be respectful to all our participants, and please do note that we are government. So any public information request, and this is $1 billion procurement, so we are expecting that will happen definitely, and we are ready for it. But you as a company, it's your job to protect your information. So at least the first layer would be sending us a letter, which will protect the interest, protect the information you are sending to us as a trade secret. But also at the same time, I want to be also, I would like to provide context on both end, Teresa, and this is who I am. From a state broadband office perspective, I would say please do note that submitting information regarding supply chain, your cybersecurity for for an organization, those directly not impacting the scoring. Those are a pre-qualification requirement. But please do note that a network design and how many BSLs you are covering is definitely going to be a scoring criteria. So in case of a public information request, that is something which definitely, if an organization is requesting through the right proper channel, probably would be open. So I just wanted to highlight both conditions here and see if you have any thought. When you are sending us the letter, please feel free to highlight those things, which part is confidential, which part is proprietary design. But this is $1 billion procurement, so everything basically can be judged and evaluated after the procurement is completed.
Am I still live, Kelly?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So Sandeep, to respond to that, unless you just want, and Richmond can probably help us with this too, the way you're asking for information on the network side, it's almost as if you're expecting a final engineering and design. And so within that, unless we send you flat PDFs, you are actually seeing all the levers and tools that are in the design work that
I
is
see.
proprietary and is confidential. In the past for CPF and you know, in every other state that I've worked in so far, the network design information has been limited to you know, sticks and dots, so to speak. You know, Sandeep, but you guys have additional requirements for handholds and identification of, you know, the distances of those and placement of electronics and things of that nature that take the design from a flat PDF into a interactive tool. So that's where we're struggling with this, because those things are truly, that's proprietary on the design and engineering side of things.
Okay, please do mention that, probably provide a little bit of additional clarification, so a justification in the letter, and we would, as far as it's subject to the trade secret, I think we'd be able to protect that.
Okay, thank you.
All right. It is 1:45. That does conclude today's session. Thanks for your questions. And again, continue sending them to the broadband inbox, broadband@azcommerce.com. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.